Hello everyone, welcome back to the world of English exams. In today's video, we are going to understand the overview of task 1 in the Ielts writing test, both for academic as well as the general training modules. So we are going to cover many basics of how and why it is important for you to understand task 1 and what is the basic difference between the task 1 in the academic test and the task 1 in the general test. As we have understood in the previous video that the Ielts writing test basically contains two tasks. So you need to complete both the tasks within 1 hour so as to get your desired band score. And writing the essay depends on various factors such as lexical resource, coherence and cohesion, grammatical range and accuracy, task response, and so on. Today we are going to aim at understanding a similar pattern for task 1 as well. This is the basic video. From now on we shall start a series of videos about task 1 for academic and general. So stay tuned to our channel World of English Exams and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done that already. So let's get the video started. So this is a perfect summarization of Ielts academic and the Ielts general training tests. Basically, there are two tasks, as I told you, in each of the modules. Whether it is academic or whether it is general training, you have to attempt two tasks. And the time given to you for this is 60 minutes or 1 hour. Of course, no extra time will be given to complete this. So you need to plan accordingly. Time management is very important, guys. So the first task in the academic Ielts is a report. We'll shortly understand what a report is and what are the points that you need to remember while writing a report. Then the second task in the Ielts academic writing is an essay. So the task 1 is known as report because you need to summarize an information which is presented in the form of a visual data. Whether it is a graph or a table or a chart, whatever it is, you need to interpret it, you need to understand what it means and you need to respond to it accordingly. You need to summarize it and cover all the basic features of what you see. So that's the reason it's called a report. And essay means it's a descriptive method in which you talk about a particular topic, and if you are asked to, then you need to give your opinion. So now let's move on to the general training section of the writing. And in the general training test, the task 1 is called a letter. There are various types of letters about which we are going to cover in brief in this video. And in detail, I'm going to talk about each of the kinds of letter in the coming videos. So do check out the other videos on our channel as well. Then the task 2 remains the same. It's still an essay. However, it must be understood that the essay topic and the question which is given will be slightly different for the academic and the general training tests. However, task 1 is totally different, as you can see here. In the academic test it's a report, while on the general training test it is a letter. Now let's understand and focus on each of these task 1 topics particularly. Now this slide shows that when you're writing the task 1 for the academic test, as I told you, you need to write a report. So we are going to learn some of the basic points that you need to have in your mind while writing this task. You need to write a short descriptive report. So make sure that the report is not very detailed. However, there is no set rule that you need to restrict the number of words. You can write as much as you want, but make sure that all the points fit into the context and they are not deviating from the main theme. So make sure that this one rule is followed. Then you need to write at least 150 words. Now this is a standard, an instruction from the Cambridge University, that you need to write at least a minimum of 150 words. Of course, as I told you, there is no upper limit, and underlength tasks will be underscored. So you will receive a penalty if you are not meeting the minimum word count. So ensure that you count the number of words well before you finish the test and you hand over the papers to the invigilator. So you don't need to write the number of words you have written, just for a mental note. Then you need to summarize the given data. So you're not supposed to be writing each and every minute detail. It must be a short yet descriptive report. And the next point to remember is that you have to interpret all the significant features. When you look at a particular graph, whether it is a bar chart or a pie chart, whatever it is, so you would definitely see some points which are very significant and very important to be noted down. So all you need to do in the report is to organize such significant points one after the other and make sure you don't miss any of those. So all the important details must be listed and explained very well with proper paraphrasing. So you should avoid repeating the same words, the exact words from the question. You need to paraphrase it. In other words, what I mean to say is, you can write the question, the given statement in your own words. That's called paraphrasing, which is an essential skill for the writing test. Not only for the writing, but for all the tasks on the test. Then, avoiding to write all the unnecessary details is a key factor in scoring a better mark in the IELTS writing. So just because there is a lot of data given and just because they ask you to give a minimum of 150 words, it does not mean that you need to cover every single detail. That would be a very elaborate report, and that's not what we want. We want to write a short one. Once again, I'm stressing on this because this point is often disregarded by many people, many candidates, and as such they do not find that the task is written adequately or the time is sufficient. So time is strictly limited. You need to make sure that you're finishing both the tasks. For that, once again, I am stressing that the report need not be elaborated. It can be concise yet self-explanatory. Then use a wide range of related vocabulary. So this is called a lexical resource. Lexis indicates that you are using a variety of vocabulary which has to be done in the IELTS writing test. So, and the vocabulary should be related to the given task. So we are going to come up with many more videos pertaining to each of the question types here, but I'm telling you that if the vocabulary is unrelated, then even though you satisfy the other requirements of the task, then you're not going to score well in the lexical resource, which is going to give 25% of the score. Then the last point is, do not write your opinion or any sort of irrelevant ideas. So you should make sure that you're not giving your opinion, because all they're asking you is to summarize whatever chart or whatever picture they have given you. So they're not asking for your opinion in any of the reports. Please keep a check on this and ensure that you're not giving your opinion on any of the academic reports. Now, having understood the various points to remember, let's move on to the next slide. But if at all you're unsure of this or you require some more time to read this, you may go ahead and pause the video right now. Take time to read it and understand each and every single point that has been shown to you. Okay, now let's see the various types of reports. So I'm giving you a short list of all the types of reports because I want you to make sure that you're practicing all of these individually as well as in combination with the other reports in a very detailed way, so that whatever report is given to you, you must be ready to answer it in a shortest span of time possible. Then the types of reports that you can see and that you have to practice are bar charts, pie charts, line graphs, tables, process diagram, flow chart, life cycles, and combinations. So other than the combinations, all the other listed items may be seen as individual entities, which means you can just get one bar chart, or you may be given one pie chart, one line graph, one table, and so on. Whereas the last type of report is called a combinational report, which indicates that you may get two or more number of reports together. So as you can see towards the right, I have given you one bar chart and one line graph. So this is how it can be seen. This is called as a dissimilar combination. Whereas you may also see similar combination, that is two bar charts or two pie charts or two line graphs and so on. So either the combination can be a similar one or a dissimilar one. Not just this, but you can also see maps. Maps also can be given. So maps can be showing an area before development and after development, or maybe before addition of some tourist facilities and after addition of some tourist facilities and so on. So these are the various types of reports. Now let's also see what is the task 1 in the general training test, and let's try to understand some points that you have to bear in your mind. So the task 1 in the general training test is a letter. You need to write a letter. So let's understand what a letter is. I must admit that all of us are familiar with what a letter is, but if you do not follow a proper structure and proper tense while writing a letter, then that's going to be a negative factor which might lower your score. Unlike the traditional forms of a letter where you can elaborate the context, here there is no necessity for you to do so, because in your letter question you would see not just a question but 3 hints that follow the question. So immediately after the question you will see that there are 3 supporting hints given to you. So just like in the academic task 1, in the general training test also you need to ensure that you're writing a minimum of 150 words for this task. And the approximate time that you need to take to write the report or the letter is 20 minutes. I repeat, the minimum time or the approximate time that you need to take to finish the task 1 is 20 minutes. So make sure you're strictly following this, because unless and until you do this, you wouldn't find that the time is sufficient for task 2. And just like in the task 1 of academic, here also you need to ensure that you're counting the number of words you've written just for your reference, because anyway the examiner, the person who is going to correct your paper, is definitely going to count the number of words. But to make sure that you are successful in meeting the word count, you may take a minute or two to actually count the number of words that you've written. Then as I told you, there would be 3 hints given to you, or 3 bullet points which are listed below the question. So stick to the hints given and explain the ideas briefly. This is a very, very important point when you're talking about a letter, that you need to stick to the given hints. So you should not deviate from the topic. Just look at what is given in the hint and just elaborate it briefly. And do not include any sort of irrelevant ideas. So whatever information you are giving, see to it that the information is exactly matching with what is being asked. So if the information, let's say, is asking about details of a trip, so all you're going to give is the date of your arrival, what are the things that you need to see there, and when are you going to check out. Other than this, you are not expected to give any further details, at least in that particular body paragraph. And since I have mentioned that 3 hints will be given, your structure should look something like this. It should start with an introduction, followed by the 3 body paragraphs. Yes, you need to write 1 body paragraph separately for each of the hints that you see. Then followed by this is a conclusion. So totally you would be writing 5 paragraphs, an introduction, 3 body paragraphs and a conclusion. So make sure that you program your mind and practice appropriately so as to meet all these requirements. And last point to mention here is never skip writing the introduction and the conclusion. So whether you're starting with task 2 or with the task 1, make sure that you're definitely writing the introduction and the conclusion if you are a general training test taker. For the academic test taker, however, conclusion is not mandatory because you give something called as an overview statement there. So for the general training test takers, however, it is definitely a mandate to write the conclusion. If you skip it, then definitely the overall score would be going down. Having understood the various points, now let's see what are the different types of letters. So basically there are three different types of letters and all the three types are very significant to be prepared well. The first one is known as a formal letter, and the second one is known as a semi-formal letter, and the last one is known as an informal letter or a personal letter. The formal letter is something which is written to a completely unknown person, and the tone should be very formal. You cannot use word contractions in that, and you cannot use casual vocabulary or vocabulary which is irrelevant to the given context. Then we have the semi-formal letter. So the name suggests that it is also a kind of formal letter, but you are at least aware of the person to whom you are addressing the letter. And finally, there is the informal letter, which is also called as the personal letter. It's written to friends and acquaintances or relatives, to cousins or people who we are very close to. So in the latest videos, we are going to update the information pertaining to each of these letters, and in the forthcoming videos I am going to show you the various basics and the format along with sample questions of how to tackle various questions and how to prepare for them. So I hope this overview provided you with the necessary information before getting started with task 1. So if you like this video, please don't hesitate to give it a huge thumbs up and share it with all your friends, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel World of English Exams. Until I see you with the latest video, happy preparation guys.